Okay, so I have prepared, as it was asked by you, Bill, a short presentation explaining what was being done in my company.
Can you guys hear okay down there?
Usage of logical thinking process, but also combined with other tools of Lean and Six Sigma. Okay, the project was called Focused Continuous Improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the project context. My company is a company with employing around 2,000 people in the automotive sector. As explained, we are producing sensors for many OEM. And we have one of our products which is currently in a kind of red ocean. I mean that we have today an increase of sales, but we are not, in fact, an increase of benefit, because our OEM are requesting always to reduce the cost, the price. We are in the price competition. So in order to face that, we decided to do a particular project which is based on the theory of constraints, Lean and Six Sigma, using really a systemic approach. And here there is a definition of what is called a system by Joël de René. Maybe some of you know him. A system is a set of elements in a dynamic interaction organized for a goal. Okay, just a little bit going also in direction of logical thinking process with a goal tree. And we have also in TLS a kind of systemic approach for companies which could be represented by a tube like that, where the length of the tube is in fact the lead time. The porosity of the tube, it's only the quality. Okay, so if you have non-quality, you have a lot of porosity, and the section of the tube, in fact, the throughput, how many you can provide. In fact, the company can produce. And this was defined in France, but I think by others in the book, La Boucle Vertueuse, Virtuous Loop, I guess, in English. And this book and other also book as a book of Reza Pirachte, it's in fact promoting in fact that there is the main intersection in between TOC, Lean and Six Sigma is a flow. Six Sigma is to reduce the variability. Lean is to reduce the lead time, and the theory of constraints to increase the throughput. And the benefit of it will be with Lean to reduce the length of the tube. Okay, so you can produce faster, you can deliver faster to the customer. TOC will in fact reduce the variability. You will have less. Okay, you have these two. Okay, good.
He's running. He's prepared.
Okay.
No, I wasn't prepared at all. I was discovering
okay, fine.
slide by slide.
And so the Six Sigma will reduce, in fact, this porosity, will reduce the variation, and TOC will increase the throughput, the diameter of the tube, but with the same section. Okay. So it's the idea which is behind. There is, based on the research I did, there is not a lot of example of TLS outside manufacturing.
Mm-hmm.
And here in my domain, we are mainly in product development. Okay, maybe based on what I know. Apart, maybe a book which is called Epiphanize by Bob Spool, but it's on.
And that's here too.
Yeah, Epiphanize, which is also there.
The TLS Revolution in Services.
Ah, okay. Okay, good, thank you. Okay, so we have defined a project, and the project target was to improve the throughput or the flow of SBR project by a factor of 3. It's the name of the product. And we did, in fact, we apply DMIC plan, in fact, define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. So it was done last year. And we start, in fact, with to measure, in fact, what we have in our project. We are using the critical chain to manage our project. So we try to analyze what was the information which was in the project buffer. Okay, when you take any task in a project, here it's a kind of dummy project. Okay, so if you have one task, let's take the task B. It's like this task is ready to start. The task A is finished. Okay. this task will not always start immediately. Potentially we'll have a delay because maybe the resource is not available to start, or maybe the resource is doing something else. This, to be clear, it's a Gantt chart. Okay. Maybe I not explained it. And here you have a project buffer. It's what is behind the critical chain. Solution is to try to amortize or to absorb, in fact, the variation of each task in a buffer. And this variation could be either the delay to start of a task. So the task is not starting immediately, and will start, therefore, if it's not starting immediately, it will start to consume a part of the buffer, which is there. Or when the task is started, the task can take more time than planned. It will consume also a part of the buffer. Okay? So it is what we have here. So we are, this laser is not working. Okay, it's not working. We are consuming a part of the buffer. And when all projects are finished, it's possible to capture this information and to draw some Pareto, okay, and to regroup, in fact, each task in process and to draw some Pareto. And this Pareto can be analyzed, and we did this exercise for all projects managed in Europe and in Asia. And we could find that some particular process were consuming more project buffer. For example, in Europe, it was more the testing, which was consuming a lot of project buffer and the project design. In blue, it is in fact the delay to start, and in red, it is the consumption of the buffer during the execution. It was possible to try to identify on which task we need to focus to improve our development. And we say that even if it was inversed, okay, for Europe it is testing and design, and for Asia it was design and testing, we need to focus on these particular steps to improve our process.
Do you want interruptions as we go?
Yeah, as you want. As you want.
Why don't you have noise in your Pareto as the main cause?
You've identified a specific reason for which you had a variation, but one of them is natural.
I thought it would take me 80 hours and it took me 90. It's no big problem. It's nobody's fault. That's life in projects.
Yeah.
And that should be the number one in a Pareto like this.
Yeah, but you have to know that in fact what was taken was really the buffer consumed, not what was in fact foreseen to be consumed. Consumed in addition to what was foreseen to be consumed.
I planned a fairly obvious task for 80 hours and I took 90.
Yeah.
For no particular reason except that the estimate was wrong. Okay, but that's life in projects.
Yeah.
Where does that turn up in the Pareto?
It's turning out of the Pareto if it's going above. In fact, we are applying a buffer size of 50% of the length of the critical chain. Okay. Yeah. So if now we are passing, in fact, an addition. If you take a task,
it's big problems you've got here.
Yeah, it's actually big problems. In fact, okay, it's big problem going above what should be absorbed by the buffer.
Okay. Big stuff. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Okay, to do this analysis, we use a tool which is more known in the lean environment, which is called, another book, which is called value stream mapping. Okay, it's known with a book which is called Learning to See by Water and Chalk. It's not applied since a long time ago. And
Madam Librarian.
But the problem is that in production, there is the flow. The nature of the flow it's different than the nature of the flow you have in development. In production, it's a lot of parts. You can do a lot of measurements. Okay, there is some semi-finished product, finished product, and so on. But in development, it's more knowledge, information. Okay, so it's really intangible information. It's much more difficult to do value stream mapping with that. So there is some particular book which exists, comes as a book of Dre Loche here, Value Stream Mapping for Lean Development, and the Product Development Value Stream Mapping from Lean Aerospace Initiative. It's another book which is interesting to see. But this book, for example, it says that in development we have a pull rate, okay, which is representing 77% of the time. Okay. We are waiting a lot of time. There is a lot of job idle, and it's really something which is also a problem in development. It's not something touching only manufacturing.
So who's the author?
It's McManus. So I will provide that to you. So we did this exercise. I gave a training, in fact, to people in China and Luxembourg to do this product development value stream mapping, and we did something like that with Post-it, and we defined our VSM. With also we defined the waste of the process and so on, and with the lead time, process time, a lot of information which were defined by the team. So it's a kind of current. They have the same term, in fact, than in a logical thinking process. It's a current value stream mapping. Okay, it's a current reality for them, and it is something like this. And we identify that we need to work, especially on this process, because there is a lot of iteration. It's a process where there is 3 phases of development: A/B phase. Okay, I will use the mouse. A/B phase, C phase, and PPAP phase. And we are doing several iterations. And we need to focus especially on the design, as it was said by the Pareto, and on the test. Okay. So we did, on this particular point, we did an analysis, and here we start to use the current reality tree. So we, for this particular process, we define a waste catalog. And on this waste, we try to connect these different waste in between them to find the root cause of this waste. Okay. So one of the main waste we had for this process was the first 2 phases of development were seen as another processing. It was seen that it is done, but it is not necessary to be done. Okay. And we found out that several reasons were for this. That first of all, the prototype which were produced at this time were treated as serial production, so we were taking a lot of effort to do this prototype, okay, which was not necessary. Also, we are using some specific seat material. Our sensors are integrated in seats, but the seats are never frozen, so we have to repeat always what we are doing. We also are not using simulation as it should be done to do these two first loop of design, okay, and we said that we cannot also use the tool which needs to be done to have a robust product during these 2 phases because it's too expensive. So therefore we are also for these 2 phases not using a process representing the serial tool. We are using for laser cut, for example, instead of die cut, which is a problem. So in fact, the response of the sensor is not correct. We did also an exercise in Europe, and we found out that also concerning the simulation, that the simulation is not well correlated with reality, because sometimes you are using some wrong object to simulate, and we are not really simulating what should happen in reality. And with all this, we try to find some solution. So to find the solution, we have not defined the solution using the evaporating cloud. The team, in fact, looked on the process based on the different root cause they found. They tried to find solution called, in fact, Kaizen burst, to try to improve this particular process. And they found out that, for example, they need to have a design catalog to have more reuse of the process, of the product, already existing. They need to use more simulation to avoid to do additional work in design and also in tests. Also to remove some particular step in the process, remove stream validation. So they found some solutions. Okay. So these solutions were in fact defined in an action plan, and some solutions were coming from China and others from Luxembourg. And some solutions, in fact, were sometimes difficult and risky to implement, and also had different impact on the lead time and process time. The advantage of the value stream mapping, you have always a view of how, in fact, your solution could have an impact on the lead time and the process time. And in fact, the solutions were really easy to implement, but it was always a solution having the less impact or the less difficult to implement. But the solution having really an impact, and it was really, for example, the usage of the simulation for us was really difficult to more difficult to implement because we had resistance from our middle management to implement it. So I will explain why in the next slide. So we had really a conflict on the usage of the simulation in development. And in order to try to solve this conflict, we use the evaporating cloud. Okay, we said that we need to maximize, our objective is to maximize with our product the profit now and the future. And on one end, our manager wants to, we want to reduce the cost all over the existing development process. It's what we want to do. Okay, we have these constraints, we have this in this red ocean, we need to reduce the cost all over. And on the other side, we want to limit the development lead time by reducing the development effort in AB phase, this too early phase. Okay. And in order to do that, we want to use simulation for development in early development phase. But on the other side, we want to use to limit the usage of simulation for development project because it costs. So we have this assumption there, okay? So for the middle management, simulation is too expensive. Engineers are not trusting in simulation. There is no engagement from simulation. There is a lot of assumptions which exist on one side. I will not go into detail. And on this solution, the simulation, on the other side, the simulation makes IE less dependent from seat delivery, from the OEM. Simulation avoid a too large part of test, so there is a lot of benefit for that. But it was difficult to have it happen due to this resistance. And on the other side of the objective, there is also a threat, a risk of chance, of the risk if we change, in fact, if we use a simulation. We believe that if we now are using simulation, the customer will not accept simulation instead of real test in early development phase. And there is also a risk of not change. It's to keep the current throughput of our current project, of course. Okay. So it's represented by this alligator, the mermaids, the pot of gold, and the risk here. And to try to use simulation more, we did a specific analysis, and we found out that it could be possible to use as leverage points to sell to the OEM that it's not needed to have prototype seats for our development. For the OEM, it's extremely expensive for them to provide us prototype seats. It's cost maybe a prototype seat cost maybe 10 times the cost of serial seats. So it could be really a benefit for him if we can do simulation, because he will not have to provide us simulation prototype seats for our first development phase. So we said there is a benefit here. And on the other side, we need really to realign the management objective with our goal. And for that, we succeed to remove simulation costs from the objective of the manager. Okay, so that they have not, in fact, in their objective to reduce the cost of simulation. It was excluded. So therefore, they are not measured anymore on this particular point. Okay, so therefore, it's releasing also for them the usage of simulation. We saw also that it was also converging with a different strategy to use now this simulation, and it's going a little bit what is in fact defined in the Blue Ocean strategy. Okay, I don't know if you have this book also. You have it?
All challenging.
Okay, see. So we try to eliminate, in fact, the sensor design, the prototype build, and the prototype test for the early phase of development, to reduce the effort in AB phase, and to reduce the global cost also for the customer. So we look all sides of our organization.
And dessert, which
my.
I've deprived you of.
Okay, thank you. To raise the reuse of existing design, to have a concurrent sensor design. and to have to raise the usage of simulation, okay, and to create, in fact, a new value offer, a new value for the customer, to create an offer of fast development without risk, and also an offer with weak development costs for the customer. So it's also defined here, in fact, in the strategic Canva. So it's defined like that. In fact, before we were very close to competition with low selling price, also low internal development costs carried by the customer which were high. It was in fact the cost of prototype seats. Also the development speed which was more or less the same as competition, and a low usage of simulation. Okay, and now we are able, in fact, to reduce significantly the cost for the customer, to develop much faster, because we are squeezing, in fact, 2 development phases almost, and we are using a lot the simulation compared to what was done before. Okay. So in fact, it is also going, the message is here, you can also use it to try to see what could be the benefit, or what could be, in fact, for a mature project, a new strategy. And for us, it was...
Who invented that way of presenting things?
It's defined in this book.
That way?
Yes, the strategic Canva. You have to okay, but to sell well the solution, or to explain well the solution to our manager, okay, we had to define also a future reality tree, explaining all these solutions are going together, okay. So we use to use only simulation for these 2 early phase of development, okay. So if engineering and sell to the customer the solution model and the prerequisites, okay, with the support of our IE simulation, and if we use as it will be difficult to present like that as fact, and if we use
Maybe back to the slideshow now?
Yeah.
Or will it go small?
they will try to read it, in fact, instead of...
No, it didn't work.
It's maybe easier like that. And if you use as argument with customers that expensive prototype seat will be expensive prototype seat will be requested for the early development phase. And if we explain to customers that real test will start with the last development phase, okay. And we had here, for example, a reservation, negative branch, but the customer wants to have also sensor real part for this early development phase. Okay, so we need to provide there, in fact, unmodified sensor, a solution which will be not the final, but another solution. We had another reservation, which was that, for example, that both customer wants also for this, usually they want to have 0 or binary result, say it's okay or not okay, okay? And simulation often provides statistics, okay? So we said that here we need to provide a simulation result which is black and white for them. And also, we said that we had another reservation, but for some customer and some IE engineer have doubt about simulation, okay? So we said that for the first project, we need, in fact, to do the simulation in a traditional way to develop in parallel, okay? In order to prove that it is working. And if we are able to do that, okay, we are using simulation, and we can reduce and stop real test activity during A, B, and C phase. And we can reduce also design activity, especially for manufacturing, okay, on these 2 parts. Okay. We'll not go on this part in particular. No? And if that, we are doing that, we can release capacity for test, we can release capacity in design. And as we have also design and test, which are really our constraints, okay, we can say that we can do more, we can improve our project throughput. So if we have more capacity in design, more capacity in test, and if design and test are our constraints, we are able to do more. Okay.
Right. Design and test, you have a constraint.
Yeah.
You have a constraint in tests, you have a constraint in design, they're 2 very separate constraints.
In fact, we saw that when we did the analysis of the buffer, that it was really the two parts of the process which were too much loaded, if you want. A lot of delay to start and a lot of delay also during the execution. So we believe that if we are able to reduce this load, okay, in this part, we'll be able to do more. Okay. And of course, we are reducing the development lead time. Okay, and we found out also some positive reinforcing loops. For example, we say that if you involve development and real test mainly in pickup phase on our seat, of course, in this case we reduce the lead time of our process by almost 50%, and we are cutting a part of the development. And if you're also doing simulations there, okay, we'll be able to correlate even better the simulation and the development. And if we do that, we'll do less and less effort in this area. Okay. So it's
Very nice.
okay. So now it's part of our strategy. Okay, it's an extract of the strategy for Asia. It's ready to follow this way to do it. Okay, it's scheduled to have a post-project review in July, ready to see how it was working with our customer, because there's a lot of customer acceptance behind. They have to accept to receive simulation instead of real test result to do that. And we'll see how it is working. And okay, as conclusion, okay, it's this first product development TLS application generated a methodology. So we have in fact combined several methods. We have a methodology which was well accepted in two development sites in China and Europe. Solutions were easy to implement because it was also done with really people working on projects. Okay, the difficulty came really when we had to discuss with the managers. So for the solution which were easy to implement, it was done really upfront, okay, directly. The solution with the highest potential as a simulation, in fact, okay, we had really to do a proof of concept as explained in the future reality tree, and to have it really accepted. So we'll see if it's working well. Okay. So the perspective for this is now to apply that on other parts, on other products. So it's a value stream mapping. Usually it's applied to a specific family of products. Okay, it's something which needs to be done with that. So we'll see if normally we should apply it to other part of the product. Okay, so it was here the team who worked in China, for example. When you see, in fact, what was done, it was really.
And one guy's got the horns. There's always a comedian in every bunch.
It was a nice.
What did the guy in front say when he saw that picture?
But really, it was when the combination of tools was well working, so it's really possible to combine logical thinking process with other tools. Okay, and I found out that really to release some really particular problem, it was a usage of simulation. The usage of the evaporating cloud was really also a good tool to do that, to explain in fact the conflict and to explain this. Okay, so it's my feedback. Okay.
Excellent.